Anna, qual è il suo film preferito?
Il suo film preferito? Suo di chi? Di chi parli?
Ma il suo, Anna, il suo.
Ah, il mio! Non avevo capito.
Certo, il suo.
Senti, dammi del tu. Ciao, sono Anna e questo è My Italian Circle. Welcome to our weekly lesson, Italian Grammar Explained in English. Today we'll learn the correct way to address Italians, that is, the important difference between tu and lei, and how this difference affects communication and verb conjugation, of course. Although it's not difficult in theory, many learners, even advanced learners, get it wrong in practice. My approach today will be very practical exercises. So, be polite, stay with me, and keep watching.
Dammi del tu, se sorride il mio cuore al tuo cuor, bambina, dammi del tu.
The basic rule is we use tu in an informal setting with family, friends, and with people of the same age, especially young people. In general, we say tu to our peers. We use the polite form lei when addressing people we don't know well, older people, or in a formal context, university, hospital, bank, a government office, a job interview, with professionals such as lawyers, doctors, and so on. In these settings, the polite form is expected and appreciated. Easy. So, what happens if, for example, a teenager talks with an adult? The rule of respect applies. The adult will say tu to the teenager, and the teenager will say lei to the adult. The same happens if a 50-year-old addresses a person in their 70s. It's a way to show respect. Don't be surprised if you are a man and people call you lei, literally she. They are simply being polite. Remember, lei applies to men and women alike. E ora, esercizio. Time to practice. Ascoltiamo due dialoghi. Dimmi in quale si usa il tu e in quale il lei. Listen and tell me which dialogue is formal and which is informal.
Ciao Viola, questa è Elena, una mia collega.
Ciao Viola, come stai?
Ciao Elena, piacere. Sto andando al bar a prendere un caffè. Vieni anche tu? Hai tempo?
Sì, volentieri. Sandra mi ha parlato tanto di te.
Buongiorno, professor Sapientoni, come sta?
Ciao Roberta, sto bene, grazie. E tu?
Tutto bene, grazie. E sua moglie come sta?
Mia moglie sta bene, grazie.
Sto andando al bar a prendere un caffè. Viene anche lei? A tempo, professor Sapientoni.
Certo, molto volentieri.
Hai capito? The first dialogue is informal, while the second is formal. Read and listen again. The formal register is blue and the informal register is red.
Ciao Viola, questa è Elena, una mia collega.
Ciao Viola, come stai?
Ciao Elena, piacere. Sto andando al bar a prendere un caffè. Vieni anche tu? Hai tempo?
Sì, volentieri. Sandra mi ha parlato tanto di te.
Buongiorno, professor Sapientoni, come sta?
Ciao Roberta, sto bene, grazie. E tu?
Tutto bene, grazie. E sua moglie come sta?
Mia moglie sta bene, grazie.
Sto andando al bar a prendere un caffè. Viene anche lei? A tempo, professor Sapientoni.
Certo, molto volentieri.
In the first dialogue, the speakers are probably of the same age. They say ciao, they say tu, and call each other by their first names. In the second dialogue, Roberta addresses the man with his title and surname, Professor Sapientoni, using the lei form. The concept is simple. but learners often forget to adapt the rest of the sentence as well. Remember, with lei, the verb must be in the third person singular, and pronouns and possessive adjectives also follow this logic.
Come sta tuo papà? Come sta sua moglie? Ho visto tuo figlio. Ho visto suo figlio. Conosco le tue sorelle. Conosco le sue sorelle.
And now comes the tricky part. You have to know Italian pronouns. We have some lessons on pronouns, and you can find more information in our special Patreon PDF. For now, have a look at these examples.
Compri tu il pane? Compra lei il pane? Ti ascolto. La ascolto. Come ti senti? Come si sente? Ti do un consiglio. Le do un consiglio.
Did you notice? The polite form lei and its possessive adjectives and pronouns are written with a capital letter. This is not mandatory, but it helps to avoid confusion between the polite form and the feminine pronoun she, lei. Now, try your hand at some exercises. Turn the sentences from informal to formal, from tu to lei. Se ha tempo, possiamo pranzare insieme. La chiamo domani mattina. Può aiutarmi a compilare questo modulo? Posso prendere la sua macchina? By the way, we call this dare del lei and dare del tu. For example, io do del tu ai miei amici e do del lei alle persone che non conosco. This song should make sense now, right?
Dammi del tu, se sorride il mio cuore al tuo cuor, bambina, dammi del tu.
If you want to be less formal with someone, you can ask, possiamo darci del tu? Or you can say, dammi del tu. Dammi del tu is informal. The formal version is mi dia del tu. Sometimes the use of lei can be flexible. It's happened to me several times to go for a medical examination where I address the doctor with lei, but I get a tu instead. Why? It's obvious that I'm not a teenager. The doctor does it to make me feel comfortable in an unpleasant situation, to shorten the distance, and I personally appreciate that. Other people might not like it, it's very personal. When you enter a shop, you will be usually addressed with the polite form. Buongiorno, cosa desidera? Don't look confused when you hear it. Even if they're using the verb in the third person singular, they are talking about you. If the shop assistant is very young, you can reply with tu, of course. Otherwise, it's better to stick to the polite form. Finally, we also have another polite form, the voi form, which is older than lei and was prevalent during the Middle Ages. The voi, literally you, plural, very respectful, is still used in some areas of southern Italy. I talk extensively about the evolution of the polite form in our Patreon content. Have a look. Today we talked about a fairly simple concept, the difference between tu and lei, and we did some exercises. But that's not the end of it. I'll leave you with 3 more sentences to turn into the lei form, and you must write your answers in the comments. Go for it! And why not? Subscribe to this channel and become a patron! Tu ed io ci vediamo la settimana prossima. I'll see you next week. Ciao! Go for it, and why not subscribe to this channel and